Alright guys, it's time for another predictions and breakdown video that is taking place in the Holy Grail, the Shangri-La, that is the UFC Apex. Once again, we have back-to-back Apex cards. We have UFC Fight Night, Bonfim versus Brown taking place. And if we go by Steve Garcia versus David Onama and their Fight Night, hopefully this is going to perform as well as that Fight Night did. But what we're going to be doing is predicting and breaking down every single fight on this card, and I'm also going to be giving out my fight card awards. So without further ado, let's kick it off with the first fight of Daniel Marcos versus Miles Johns. This is a rip snorter of a fight. I am very keen for this one. Daniel Marcos, undefeated up until he fought Montel Jackson, and that was a very, very close competitive fight. He is ranking worthy. I do strongly believe he's around that 16th ranked at the moment. And Miles Johns, just really short, compact, very explosive. He's a guy that's just very, very good with his low output, just high power, high impact shots. And he does have a bit of wrestling within his game as well. But I got to take Daniel Marcos here. I think that's more so straightforward for me, to be honest. Marcos is just so much more technical on the feet and uses better volume and output overall. He's more technical at that kickboxing range as well. Good kicks, just really good hands as well. Johns has the power in his hands, but I mean, it doesn't really equate to more so than Daniel Marcos. Marcos has just as much snap, even more so, to be honest. And he's, honestly, with him losing to Montel Jackson, I think he's going to be that much more hungry. Like, he snapped his undefeated streak. I think he doesn't have that bearing over him mentally now. I think Daniel Marcos is just be like, yeah, I'm freed up. I've had a loss. I know what I need to do moving forward. And that was extremely competitive against Montel Jackson. Montel Jackson, I mean, even though he lost to Figueiredo, that guy is definitely ranking worthy. So is Daniel Marcos. Miles Johns, the guy is good, but he's just not at the level of Daniel Marcos, to be honest. Like, he's had some pretty tough opposition, like some tough fights. Like, he fought Mario Bautista, he's fought bloody Felipe Lima. He's fought guys that are very difficult. And Daniel Marcos is just another one of those guys that I think is going to be able to edge him. Johns is good defensively. Overall, he's got a good shell on him. And he's just a hard nut to crack, to be honest. And Marcos, he does have like the KOs on his side. He's 8-0 with KOs, but he's not really someone that really goes in for that kill. He's someone that's just very, very good at managing that output across 15 minutes. And that's exactly what I think he's going to do here. I think he's going to be able to get a 30-27, to be honest. I think it's just going to be him all day. Now, Marcos as well, more technical, obviously, that is the kicker. That is where I think he's just going to be able to take this completely. And most importantly as well, on the flip side, Miles Johns with his wrestling, just don't think he has the pedigree to be taking Daniel Marcos down. And even if he does, he's not really going to be keeping him there, to be honest. So Daniel Marcos, I think he's got this pretty decisively. Next up, Robert Valentin versus Jackson McVey. Now, Robert Valentin, bloke's not had the best time in the UFC so far. He's lost his last 3. Ever since coming off the Ultimate Fighter, it's just been a bit of a shit show for him. He's fought decent opposition. He's fought Torres Finney, who's pretty hard to prepare for, and he's fought a Tabor Gautier. I don't think I really need to say much about that bloke. And Jackson McVey, on the other side, he has the opportunity to not only make Robert Valentin go 0-4, Jackson McVey has the ability to put the nail in the coffin and get Robert Valentin cut. Because I think if Valentin does lose this, I think he's out of the UFC, which honestly would be fair enough. And it's crazy going from like the favorite in the Ultimate Fighter to going on this bad a losing skid. And I say that because Jackson McVey, he is less experienced, but he's got first round KOs and submissions everywhere. He's 6-0 when it comes to first round finishes, and he fought Bruno Ferreira in his debut, and he did lose that pretty much instantly, but that's a huge jump up in competition to what he is actually prepared for. And Jackson McVey, ultimately, I think he does have a good opportunity in this fight when it comes to the feet. When it comes to the ground, McVey's got a decent guillotine on him, but Robert Valentin is much more experienced, much more versed when it comes to his transitional capabilities and his ability to just get submissions off. If McVey was more of a wrestler, then I would be really worried for Robert Valentin. But Valentin has much more experience, over double the amount of experience that Jackson McVey does have. And I just see with Valentin, he's going to be really hungry in this fight. He's like, I know I can get cut from this, and I need to get through the first round. I need to utilize my grappling straight away, get out of McVey's shots. And I think if Valentin can firstly get this to the ground, and not allow McVey to get that guillotine, I think Valentin completely out-transitions him. And I think he out-transitions him to the point where Valentin does sink in a submission. I think he can get like an arm triangle or possibly a guillotine himself, to be honest. Like, there's a number of submissions that he could get. And it just depends on Jackson McVey and how much he has progressed since that Bruno Ferreira fight, especially being submitted himself. But I just don't think Robert Valentin is someone that, in this amount of time since losing to Bruno Ferreira, he's going to be able to eclipse in that grappling game. Jackson McVey on the feet has the advantage. He's got more power. Valentin doesn't look as clean. And that's where, honestly, it's either going to be a McVey vicious KO or Valentin is getting the sub. But I got to go with the guy with the deeper experience, the deeper round experience as well. I think dragging this deeper to the second to the third round, I think that's where Valentin just drags McVey into deep waters and gets the submission. And most likely stays in the UFC, hopefully. Next up, we got Tecia Pennington versus Denise Gomes. Now, Tecia Pennington, she's been in the UFC for a long time. We kind of know what she does. You know, she's very good at circling on the outside, good front leg side kicks, good karate-based style. Has improved her grappling a fair bit, which I think could have some decent points in this fight in terms of being able to win. And Denise Gomes on the other side, she is someone with a lot of power. She's got a lot of power on her side. She's the bigger fighter here. I mean, that's pretty easy to have against Tecia Pennington. Tecia Pennington is tiny. And Denise Gomes, she's got the power, she's got the momentum. She's on a 3-fight win streak at the moment. And Tecia Pennington, she's on a 2-fight win streak at the moment. So both of them have a bit of momentum on their side. But Denise Gomes is the real change of the guard here. She's got that power. She's really looking improved with the timing on her strikes and not being as, so aggressive with her striking. And that's where I think that she's really going to be able to edge this fight in terms of impact of shots and power. Now, Tecia Pennington, though, if Tecia can impose her will and get Denise Gomes on the ground, then that's where she can really steal rounds away from Denise Gomes. If she does not, if Denise Gomes has basically not improved her transitional capabilities on the ground and her ability to get up. But Denise Gomes really, really looked good against Eduardo Mora. She stuffed a lot of takedowns, and Denise Gomes is just stronger in the clinch than Tecia Pennington, and that's where Gomes, I'm going to give her the decision win here. Tecia Pennington, she's hard to finish. She's got a lot of grit. She moves very well, and she clinches when she needs to make sure that she's not getting taken out. And I just don't think Denise Gomes is going to be able to take Tecia out. And I think if she does, I think Tecia's going to retire. But I do think that Tecia has the defensive IQ to make sure that she survives, but I just don't see her having the biggest impact, especially on the feet, to outwork Denise Gomes, especially with the power difference there. So got Denise Gomes. I think she's going to be taking a 29-28. I think Gomes takes the first round and the second round. I think Tecia Pennington going through the third with the grit and the pace and the experience she has, I think that she can edge that last round when it comes to takedowns and also volume circling on the outside when Gomes becomes a little bit more flat-footed. But aside from that, I think it's a stretch, and Denise Gomes should be taking this one. Now, moving up the card, we got Josh Hokit versus Max Gimenis. Now, neither of these guys have fought in the UFC. Josh Hokit is on Dana White's Contender Series. Very, very small heavyweight. Could be a light heavyweight without a doubt. And I think depending on how this fight goes, he will probably move down. He's a very good chain wrestler, but I will say, from the chain wrestling that we've seen on the regional scene, looked pretty decent. But in Dana White's Contender Series, he looked good, but he fought a can, like an absolute can. Like, the guy was not good at all. And yes, he's got great entries on his takedowns, good timing and everything as well. But I'm not super sold on him, especially as a -400. And Max Gimenis on the other side, this guy, granted, has a similar amount of experience, but he is a lot bigger. He's basically a maxed out heavyweight. This guy's going to be like 30 to 40 pounds heavier than Josh Hokit here. And Max Gimenis does have grappling on his side. He has looked pretty impressive when it comes to grappling itself. Now, in actual MMA, well, he's got 2-0 with submissions. Like, he's actually good on the ground, but yeah, when it comes to his actual grappling, you can see on the screen with his bloody actual BJJ fit, yeah, you know he's a grappler. And when it comes to his grappling overall, I think he is very, very good. And I think he's very underrated, especially when it comes to this matchup and being a plus 300 underdog. Now, when it comes to his striking, I honestly got to say, it's pretty much unknown. I really don't know how good this guy is at striking. He's 3-1 with KOs. Like, he's got some KOs to his name, but I mean, from what I can see of Josh Hokit on his side, good wrestling overall, but a lot smaller. And if he's getting this to the ground, can Max Gimenis really offer things in terms of submission offense to take Josh Hokit out? I really think there is potential there. And I honestly got to say, I think just with the sheer size difference here, and Max Gimenis clearly having power on paper, and with his grappling, in terms of just grappling specifically, like we know he has pedigree there, I'm going to take Gimenis here. I'm going to take him by decision. Very, very big hot take. Very big upset here. Could be completely wrong, but I'm just not really seeing why there's a minus 400 tag on Josh Hokit from what we've seen on both regional scenes and Dana White's Contender Series. I don't really understand why. Are they just making it minus 400 because we actually have somewhat of a film tape of Josh Hokit, like compared to Max Gimenis? I really don't know. But overall, I think for a guy that has the reach advantage on the feet, has the better overall jiu-jitsu skill, and has power in his hands, I'm happy to sprinkle the upset of the night here for him, to be honest. I'm happy to give him that award. I could be completely wrong, but fuck it, we'll see how we go. Two big, well, I'll say one big heavyweight swang and bang, and the other just trying to absolutely wrestle fuck the other. So we'll see how we go. Should be a fun fight, but I'm going to take the underdog here. Next up, Mayra Bueno Silva versus Jacqueline Cavalcanti. Now, Mayra Bueno Silva, I just don't really understand this chick, to be honest. She's just moving up and down. I don't think she's found her feet properly. Like, she's lost some pretty important fights. You know, she's lost the title fight, for one. She's lost a couple more. She's had a pretty spotty career so far. And Jacqueline Cavalcanti, on the other side, is like the complete opposite. She has a lot of momentum on her side, is arguably the best kickboxer in that division, which in a sense is impressive. I mean, the division's just not impressive itself, but she is a good damn striker. And I've got to say, when it comes to the grappling, yes, Mayra Bueno Silva is better, but she does have lapses in judgment. I'm not going to lie. Mayra Bueno Silva, when she's been in these fights, she's had opportunities to get submissions, to get these fights finished and done, and she lets them slip, go back to the feet, she gets cut open, she loses the fight. Like, I don't rate Mayra Bueno Silva's fight IQ, and Jacqueline Cavalcanti on the other side, very clean at range, good kickboxer, good volume, good takedown defense. I'm taking her by a decision here. I think Mayra Bueno Silva, with the pedigree that she does have in terms of the experience level compared to Cavalcanti, I think Bueno Silva can find some success in this fight to where I think it'll be a 29-28 decision. I just think Cavalcanti will really run away with it through like the first to the third round. I think Bueno Silva in the middle there, I think she'll do a good job of actually just really making it dirty, getting Cavalcanti against the cage, and then dropping her to the ground. I think she's going to get some takedown success in there, but with like a 3.5 reach disadvantage, really, really good distance management on Cavalcanti's side, better striking overall and takedown defense. I'm taking Cavalcanti for the win here, to be honest. Moving up the card, we got Adrian Yanez versus Christian Quinonez. Now, Adrian Yanez, he is a good striker. We know that he kind of fell from grace after he lost to Rob Font, you know, was going for a hook, got it straight down the pipe and just got absolutely sat on his ass. But he is a guy that has fought good opposition. He is a good fighter. I mean, he had a fantastic fight against Martinez. He's had fantastic fights against a lot of guys. And he is a much higher volume-based fighter, and he is more technical than Christian Quinonez. Now, Quinonez, he has the power on his side, definitely. He's a guy that isn't as technical, but does have that snappy shot. And if these guys get into a reckless exchange, I honestly think Quinonez can take Yanez out. But when it comes to the technical ability and the awareness from Yanez and the experience that he's had from losing to Rob Font and going through these wars, I think Yanez really understands the fact, like, I just can't can't stand peace and trade here. Like, it's just not going to happen. I can't do it. And I can't afford to do it if I want to make it back into the top 15. And that's where, if he does have that game plan going, I think he can win. And not only do I think he can win, I think with that technical contrast on the feet, I think he can take Quinonez out. I really do think he can in rounds either 2 or 3 after they really get warmed up. Yanez is just so much more technical, has the higher volume. Quinonez has the power, but Yanez can honestly just mix up the ground game there as well. I think he's more advanced when it comes to a ground game avenue in terms of control. Quinonez, like, if the guy is able to really impose his will, I just don't see it even going to a decision. I think Quinonez would just take Yanez out. I just don't think that there is going to be a decision here, unless both of these guys' chins just somehow really hold up, and there's a lot of grappling, just trading in there. But yeah, I really think that Yanez is going to be able to take him out here. He's going to get my performance of the night, especially with my prediction being correct if it is so, because Quinonez isn't any joke. Like, he's no joke. He's a guy that's got power in his hands. He is very snappy with his strikes, lower combinations, but has the power and does have a grappling game to an extent. But I like Yanez's more, and Quinonez does have submission-based susceptibility, and Yanez could honestly submit Quinonez, especially if he hurts him, but I've got to go with Adrian Yanez to get this one done. Next up, Jamall Emmers versus Hyder Amil. Now, Austin Barshi was supposed to fight Jamall Emmers. He has pulled out. Hyder Amil is now in. Am I complaining? Absolutely not. This is a way better matchup. Jamall Emmers is a bit of a sniper. He's very, very good in the first round. So is Hyder Amil. Jamall Emmers, though, 4-inch reach advantage, full camp, very snappy with his shots. He's hurt a lot of guys in the first round and put them away. But if he is faced with pressure and adversity, that's where it is really going to be a problem. And Hyder Amil knows one setting, and that is to press forward, absolutely suffocate the opposition with volume, and just close that distance. And that's where Hyder Amil, I really don't see him changing that game plan unless his Jose Miguel Delgado loss really gets into his brain. He's coming off his first loss, and it was a bad loss at that. Took a knee to the chin, got dropped and taken out in less than a minute. And that's where Hyder Amil, he is risky when it comes to not only mentally coming off a loss, but also coming in on short notice. And especially with Jamall Emmers, if Jamall can have any form of distance management, because he can snipe extremely well. But I just think Amil's pressure is just going to be too much. He's going to be able to close that distance of Emmers. He's really going to be hungry to come back in. Very much so. I like the Daniel Marcos thing, especially with any guy that loses their undefeated status. It's kind of like a breath of fresh air in the fact, like, I don't have that stress or that concern of, you know, having to maintain my undefeated record. It's gone now. I just need to focus straight on this win. That's all I need to focus on. My record's out of my brain. Just get this sorted. And I think Amil is the type of guy to do that. I think he flusters Emmers. I think Emmers does have a decent, like, first half of the first round. I think Amil just really presses the hell out of him towards the end of the first round. And then into the second, I think he takes him out early, drops him, and it's done. Now moving up the card to Christian Leroy Duncan versus Marco Tulio. Take my money. This is a fantastic fight. I'm so keen for this because Christian Leroy Duncan is a fantastic prospect out of the UK. Borderline not even a prospect at this point anymore. He honestly is looking very good. He's only had a couple of lapses. He's lost 2 decisions. He lost to RoboCop, which was a great fight. He did very well in that fight as well, but just couldn't deal with the overall pressure. And Marco Tulio on the other side, this guy is extremely impressive. He, firstly, is getting my Fighter to Watch award. And when I give a Fighter to Watch award, that means you're realistically winning the fight. And I do think that Marco Tulio is going to win by a split decision because Marco Tulio is fantastic. Watch his fight against Trajan Gore. Absolutely put on a damn clinic. Like, it was scary. He was bullying a guy for taking his bloody drug money. That's how bad it was. And Christian Leroy Duncan on the other side is someone you rarely see get bullied unless you got a RoboCop that's absolutely coming in for the kill. So this is why this is such a good fight. Christian Leroy Duncan has the reach advantage here. He is a guy that's got really, really good kickboxing, good technical tools like spinning kicks and everything like that. At range, extremely dangerous. Now, when it comes to closing off that distance, Marco Tulio's boxing is very, very good. Very good. Just so technical. Lands a ridiculous amount of combinations. Very high volume combinations. But as well as that, it's just his strike accuracy. He's just a laser. He's so pinpoint, and he mixes up his tools ridiculously well. Like, he throws absolutely everything. I think in that Trajan Gore fight, I don't think he missed a kind of technique. He threw elbows, he threw knees, he threw uppercuts, overhands, 1-2s, everything. He just threw the absolute fucking kitchen sink at the dude. And Marco Tulio, in that sense, man, if he's coming into this with that kind of performance, I think the odds are perfect. $1.80 to $2, minus 150 to plus 120 makes complete sense. And with that, I've got to give him that split decision win. I think he's going to face some damn adversity here because Christian Leroy Duncan, the guy at kickboxing range, is better than Tulio. I can say that because especially when it comes to his leg reach, he's the taller guy. He's got the arm reach too. He's a guy that is just going to be able to work at range. But I don't see Tulio just coming off the brakes. From what we've seen of him, I think he's going to press so far forward. I think he's really going to pressure Duncan. I think he's going to get him into clinch-based exchanges, really work the body, some nice uppercuts, hooks to the body. And at that boxing range, I think he's going to hurt Duncan. And I think Duncan, when it comes to, say, round 2, I think that's where he's just going to really land some clean shots. He's going to land some nice shots at range, really circle along the outside, away from the power side. And he's got that switch stance capability as well. So Duncan is very, very good at being able to circle off from the power hand and really land good shots with his own power hand as well, and power kick. So that's where Tulio does have to be wary at that range, but I just think he's just so good with that boxing range, and I think he eclipses Duncan's boxing. I think that's enough to get it done. And with that, clearly for me, Fight of the Night award here. I am extremely keen for this one. Could have made this the main event, to be honest. I would have been just as, if not more, happy, realistically, because I can tell you for a fact this fight will damn bang. Next up, we got Raoni Barcelos versus Ricky Simon. Now, Raoni Barcelos, you got to give it to this guy, 38 years old, on a solid win streak now after losing to Umar Nurmagomedov badly. He's just looked so good with his activity. He's beaten Peyton Talbot. He's beaten Cody Garbrandt. He's beaten these really good names. And he's just this guy that's been so under the radar, super underrated, and at such an old age, the guy is looking so good. He's a BJJ black belt, very credited in that area. He's very good with his pacing and his volume on the feet as well. And just in terms of his transitional capabilities, that's definitely the best part of his game and what wins him so many fights. And he does have power in his hands too. But we look at Ricky Simon on the other side. Ricky Simon is a guy that has that well-versed experience looking into the top 15. He's fought great guys like Song Yadong. He's fought Vinicius Oliveira. Like, he's fought very, very good guys. And Ricky Simon has that wrestling base. He's not so much as like a super crazy submission-based specialist, but he's a strong, stocky unit. Like, this is going to be very, very interesting if this gets to the ground, because Ricky Simon is stronger, but Barcelos has the transitional awareness. Now, if this goes late, I see Barcelos having a better outcome over Ricky Simon, but I just can't get this picture out of my head that this shorter, stockier Ricky Simon just pumps the Javid Basharat treatment. Just gets some form of overhand or hook and just clips Barcelos badly, KOs him, I think, towards the start of the second round. I think he's going to chin Barcelos bad. It's realistically a hunch, but this is just so close in terms of a stylistic matchup and looking at it analytically. They're both very close. I mean, they've both got tools absolutely everywhere, but I think with Simon and his experience, and especially with the power he possesses overall and what we've seen of him recently, I'm more impressed with his finishing potential, and that's where I'm going to be giving him my finish of the night award, especially if he is finishing a guy like Raoni Barcelos with the experience he does have and just the momentum he is on. And if he is finishing him and he's possibly, with it being really just a real bad finish, Ricky Simon could be looking at his way back into the top 15, and that's where I've honestly got to give him my finish of the night award if he's able to do something like this, which I think he's getting it done. Now, moving up the card, we got Ismael Bonfim versus Chris Padilla. Now, this is a matchup I honestly do like. It makes a lot of sense. Like, Ismael Bonfim, he's had a couple wins here and there. Chris Padilla has looked very good in the UFC. He is very underrated, I will say. One of the most flying under the radar fighters in this whole entire lightweight division. And that's definitely saying something because it is so stacked. But when we look at Ismael Bonfim, great power in his hands. He's got good technical abilities on the feet. The ground game has a lot to answer for, to be honest. He does have submissions when he hurts his opposition and he's able to get it to the ground, they're stunned, and then you can submit them. But aside from that, we've seen Benoit Saint Denis absolutely just ransack him. Like, he's very susceptible to getting submitted. And Chris Padilla, on that other side, I will say that he's not like as snappy with his striking at like kickboxing range as Ismael Bonfim, but the timing of Padilla's strikes is where he is extremely dangerous. Like, his ability to fling elbows, like he fought, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, Chinese Donnie, blew up his eyeball like a balloon, like absolutely insane, just made it, literally had a golf ball for an eye, and that's just from the timing of Padilla's bloody elbows. Like, Padilla is so good when it comes to striking on the feet in terms of his actual timing and accuracy, even when he's on the back foot. If he's on the front foot, on the back foot, it's still the same. He's a guy that is extremely underrated with his tools. He's got a good submission game as well, and he's got that base there from it. And that's where I think with these odds almost being a 3-1 dog, honestly, this is my more confident pick for it. I know I've given it to Gimenis, but I would honestly be giving Chris Padilla my upset of the night if I'm really not staking anything. Like, Chris Padilla, I'm more actually confident that he is going to be able to get the upset of the night here because he has just got those really underrated tools, and I think he's going to be able to hurt Bonfim in a very close exchange. I think he's going to be able to take him down off of that. I think he's going to be able to submit him with a rear naked choke. I think that's going to be happening in the second or the third round. I think he's really slept on. He's been an underdog in almost every fight he's been in, and he's won every damn fight. Like, he's just a guy that is so impressive, flying under the radar, and I just think he can't really be ignored here. And this is one Bonfim brother down. I think Ismael Bonfim is going to get taken out here, and that's where it's looking dangerous in terms of his staying in the UFC. I'm worried about him and him getting cut. And going against Chris Padilla, I think Padilla is going to be able to get it done as a juicy underdog. Now, moving up the card, Muslim Salikhov versus Uros Medic. Now, Muslim Salikhov, he's this guy that's like 7,000 years old, but he never ceases to amaze by chinning people in the most iconic fashion there bloody is. Spinning heel kicks, head kicks, he just disposes of people. And oftentimes he is an underdog when that's happening. I mean, he's caught me out a couple of times when I'm trying to do my bets. Muslim Salikhov is a very dangerous guy. We know that. He's 22-5. Very underrated record. 15 KOs to his name. Doesn't have a massive submission base. But against Uros Medic, it's definitely possible, because Uros Medic basically has a non-existent defensive ground game when it comes to submission-based offense. And Medic on the other side, don't get me wrong, I can understand to an extent why he is a favorite here. Great power in his hands, good technical striking, but just so one-dimensional. He is so one-dimensional. He's got the power in his hands and the technical ability, but if he's getting dropped to the ground, I just don't see much from him. And Muslim Salikhov has the ability to get the fight to the ground if he wants it. He really does. He's got the wrestling there. Even though he's more so of like a kickboxing-based fighter, he's still got that ability there. He's the more well-rounded fighter out of the two of them. Granted, Salikhov is old, but the guy's aging like fine wine. I don't think age literally correlates to him at all in terms of analytics from what he's shown us time and time and time again. And that's where I see, honestly, I think Salikhov's going to get a submission. I think Salikhov is going to drop Uros Medic, drop him to the ground. I think he's going to find a rear naked choke finish. I think it's going to happen towards the end of the first round or start of the second round. I just think it's going to be another classic Salikhov somewhere on the main card, randomly just gets a wild-ass finish like he's been doing time and time again. And I think Uros Medic, if he can really outpace Salikhov and finish him early, great for him, and I think that's really understandable. But I think Salikhov is going to hurt Medic. He's going to drop him to the ground, and I think he's going to hunt that rear naked choke as Medic tries to get back up along the cage. Simple as that. Done out. Now, moving on to our co-main event, we have got Matt Schnell versus Joseph Morales. Now, Morales, he is someone that has been in the UFC before. He has been cut from the UFC, and he is fighting in Team Alpha Male now and is coming through the Ultimate Fighter. And I am very impressed with this guy. Very, very impressed with his ability in his last fight. Like, a lot of heart that he showed. Very good timing with his striking. Great grappling. He showed pretty much no flaws in that fight that he had against Idris in that tough finale. And when we look at him with pretty much no flaws going from that fight into this one against a Matt Schnell who has gone from a bantamweight based fight and retiring back to flyweight, having a deeper weight cut and has no fucking chin. Dude, the guy should have stayed retired. Like, his chin is cooked. I don't know why. I mean, granted, it could be personal reasons. I have no idea. But I just don't think it is the best idea for Matt Schnell to be fighting again if he has his life sorted out, personally. Like, if he needs to be fighting, fair enough. But if it's just a choice, I really just don't see why he is. Honestly, Joseph Morales, granted, he's more of a submission-based offensive fighter, as you can see by the statistics. Yes, Schnell's got the experience, but Morales, coming off that performance and how hungry he is after getting cut once, I think he's going to chin Schnell. Like, granted, he doesn't have the huge KO power, but if he's fighting a guy like Idris, who is better than Matt Schnell at this point, and he just ran circles around him, I think Morales is just going to be able to piece Matt Schnell up. Like, he's really good transitionally on the ground. I don't think Schnell is going to be able to catch him in a submission. And Morales, when it comes to his striking, he's got great shots to the body, great hooks to the body, great knees, really good at pressuring against the cage. And I think that's exactly what he's going to do. I think he's going to pressure Matt Schnell against the cage, land a flurry of shots, good knees to the body, gets a hook over the top, drops Schnell, takes him out in the first round. And I think Schnell, from this, I think he does retire. Now, moving on to the main event, we have got Gabriel Bonfim versus Randy Brown. Now, with this main event, granted, not the best overall, still at least a ranking fight, ranking opportunity, but I defend the UFC a fair bit, I feel like, when it comes to my videos and whatnot, but I just can't really in this. I do like Bonfim and Brown, but they shouldn't be a main event of a fight night, especially with how well the UFC has been cooking on their fight nights and the main events we have been getting. Like, even with Steve Garcia and David Onama, I wasn't mad about that because Steve Garcia is just an absolute fucking menace, and he showed that. And looking at this fight, I think there are a lot of technical pieces to this fight that can make it a good fight, but I just don't think in terms of the name value it should be a main event. There's a bunch of other names that they could have gotten. I think this would have been a great co-main. Like, you got Matt Schnell on a co-main. I don't mean to shit on him all the time, but seriously, if he's the co-main, you really need to be sorting shit out. And with these guys being the main event, 5 rounds, do I think it's going 5 rounds? No, I do not think it's going 5 rounds. Both these guys have a humongous finish rate, especially Gabriel Bonfim, a fantastic submission artist, and he has improved his kickboxing a lot, I will say. Like, he's very good at going from that kickboxing range straight into clinch range. Like, I'll say, in terms of a kickboxing range as it is, him versus Randy Brown, if they stay at kickboxing range, Randy Brown's going to knock him out. Like, I'm very confident about that, to be honest. Bonfim has improved, but Randy Brown has the reach, he's got the length, he's got a wealth more experience for sure in the UFC. He's been in the UFC a long time. He's fought the champion. He's fought a lot of good guys, had a lot of good wins as well. And he is tricky. Very, very tricky. Like Randy Brown, I think he even beat Bryan Battle in that last fight. Like, it's really just unfortunate for Randy Brown that he did lose that. I mean, he would be looking literally into the top 15, probably even higher at this point. Like, it really scuffed him around, and I think he did win. And that he struggled in that, and it was like basically a split because Bryan Battle was using such a heavy clinch-based exchange, and Randy Brown against Bonfim, I think it's very close. Like, Randy Brown has very good knees up the middle, but Bonfim is very good at striking up top with his hands and really trying to drag the fight to the ground, because Bonfim has so much success when it comes to clinch-based exchanges because the opposition is so worried about that takedown threat. And if Bonfim gets Brown to the ground, yes, Bonfim definitely has a huge advantage there, for sure. But I think Brown, when it comes to his ability on the ground, whether he's on his back or whether he's on top, he's just so long. Like, he's got those limbs there. I don't think he can submit Bonfim, but he's going to be a guy that's, while Bonfim is not passed into side control, if he is in half guard or if he is in full guard, I don't think Bonfim is going to be having this wealth of success that his record would show, because Brown has got those really long legs. He's always active. He's always moving. He's never like stationary in one place, whether it's on the ground or whether it's on the feet. And that's where Bonfim, if he is passing to side control, especially with the length of Randy Brown, I think Randy Brown is probably done. I think Bonfim will probably be able to submit him with a head and arm choke or some form of modified Darce or Anaconda or something like that. That is Bonfim's best case scenario. Now, should he be a favorite here? I don't really mind. I can see the argument there. Randy Brown's 35 years old, and Bonfim is, I guess, more so well-rounded. But I can't ignore the fact that Gabriel Bonfim, especially against the pacing of Nick Dolby, he completely extinguished. He completely just, his light went out, and Dolby completely destroyed him. Randy Brown completely overwhelmed Nick Dolby and took him out. The first guy to take Nick Dolby out in his last fight. And with Randy Brown being able to do that and having 5 rounds, if Brown is able to stop the takedowns of Bonfim, land good shots, circle on the outside effectively, Randy Brown is going to have a lot of success here. And I seriously do see that. And especially when we look at Gabriel Bonfim against a longer striker that does have some pretty dynamic tools. I'm not saying Randy Brown is Stephen Thompson, but Stephen Thompson honestly won that fight against Gabriel Bonfim. I honestly think, watching it back, I think he did. And that's where Gabriel Bonfim, going into the distance where he's never been before, and Randy Brown is very good with his gas tank, because even though he's only really been through 3 rounds, his volume and pace that he keeps over 3, he can definitely go 5, without a doubt. And Gabriel Bonfim, not having that experience whatsoever, going through into possibly championship rounds, if he is not submitting Brown by that point, Brown is going to take him out. And that's what I think is going to happen here. It's either going to be Bonfim is submitting Randy Brown early with a upper limb choke, or Randy Brown is getting into round 3, round 4, or round 5, and he is taking Bonfim out. He's going to be able to utilize that range, circle on the outside effectively, use great knees up the middle to chop at Bonfim's body, which makes that cardio even worse. And I think Brown, with that experience he has, with the reach advantage as well especially, and those straight strikes and the power he generates, I think I'm going to take him by a round 3 or round 4 TKO. I've got a lot of underdogs in this card, so it's going to be a very interesting predictions, but for most of them, I'm pretty damn confident. So we're going to see how we go, but that's what I really think is going to happen. I think Randy Brown is going to get this back. I think he's going to get into the top 15 and really just get that Bryan Battle fight back. That really pissed me off, but yeah, he's going to get this win here. I think it's going to be a good shutout. I think it's going to be a good closing to the Apex fight night. Even though it's going to be a good fight, I do think they need to be having better main events. This is a co-main, let's be honest here, but overall, I think it's going to be a good fight. But with that being said, I really hope you enjoyed the predictions and breakdown video, and I really hope you enjoy the card when it comes around. And if you haven't already, definitely just check out the video here on the screen, and please like, comment, subscribe. It really goes a long way for the channel. I really appreciate all the support you guys have been giving me, and I will hope to catch you in the next one.